Hi there. Good morning. Welcome to Compassionate Response to COVID-19, my body. I think this morning I just did a bit of seated body just to break it up a bit. So today I thought that I was reading in this book, 50 Key Thinkers on Religion, something that I'd never heard of before. Lucien Levy-Bruhl, who's born in the mid-1800s and died in 1939. And he was a kind of theorist on about religion. And he's saying something about, he focused on the myths and rituals of what he called the primitives. So I thought it was just really, I think it'd be interesting to just look a little bit at some views that like Victorians had, but also Western, just modern Westerners have had about emotion and the spiritual life, or you could say in this sense, the religious life, and emotion being something less than. I've just been watching, it's been doing the rounds a little bit, the interview with Ian McGilchrist, the author, by Mitra Bandhu. He's got this book, this big, thick 600-page book called "The Master and His Emissary." And what he's sort of saying in that book is that they've got the right hemisphere of the brain and the left hemisphere of the brain, and the left hemisphere is to do with reason and logic, and the right hemisphere is to do with making connections between things and all that sort of stuff. And in a way, more on the emotions. So the title of the book refers to the fact that when things are the right way around and working well, it's like the emotions side of things is the master, is kind of in charge in a way. He's taking the decisions, and the emissary is helping out. So it's like the reason and thought are helping out with the process of making decisions about life. But when they take over, when they become the master, because they think they know they don't know that they don't know what they don't know in a way, then chaos ensues. Things. So I think it's a kind of perennial issue, really, reason and emotion, and and I think in a way the reason can be just the sort of in a way it's the easier of the thing, to think about things, but to in a way to be wise, not just clever. Somehow the emotions need to be kind of brought into the equation, and so we see this in Buddhism, and we see it in having the metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation there, and faith. So we kind of try and cultivate confidence and devotion in figures that are associated with wisdom and compassion, and get our emotions going in that direction. So I thought it'd be interesting to just have a little kind of bit of a kind of riff on that, a bit that topic. Yeah, as I said before, I'm kind of not quite up and running with these sessions in the sense of full-blown topics and all that, and I'm in a bit of an intermediate place with just trying to sort out my pension and finances and that sort of thing, and before kind of getting going again a bit, but so we're in a bit of a kind of what we call in Buddhism a bardo, a place between two of a space between two other spaces. It's not quite finished this and not quite getting on with that, but so meditation is a bardo, it's a place between what you were doing before and what you're doing next, or what you are going to be doing next. And so in any change, there's always the opportunity. The gives us the opportunity to see what's happening and to make sort of adjustments and reset things, and to look inward if we've been looking outward a lot. And have a bit of self-knowledge or something like that, a bit more self-knowledge. So I think what we'll do this morning is do a little bit of seated body work. So if you want to begin by just rub your hands together. Just being aware of your body, touching the ground, whatever you're sitting on. A sense of the warmth in your hands. And how it feels to be wearing clothes, touching your skin. How it feels for the air to be touching your skin. Give your hands a bit of a squeeze. Take a few deeper breaths. Other hand. Hold your hands. Maybe try and pull them apart. Push them together. And just twisting to the left. To the right. Okay. Shake everything out. And just a little bit of circling. Okay. So making yourself comfortable in your meditation posture. Maybe get some blankets or something. Okay, so in line with the topic for today, we're going to do loving kindness meditation. So closing your eyes. And just allowing your body to be sitting there. And the aim is to allow your body to support your mind and emotions. So they need to be not having to be concerned with your body. So you can just practice that, just disengaging your mind and emotions from being concerned with your body, except for just the angle that your spine is making so that your weight can go down into the ground naturally. So if you're disengaging from being concerned with your body and your spine is balanced, then the muscles of the body can just feel confident that they can let go. So relaxing in the face. and relaxing in the throat. And softening around the heart area. And breathing into any areas of tension. And tuning into what it feels like to care for something or somebody. So in the first stage of the Metta Bhavana, tuning into what it feels like to care for ourselves, to wish ourselves well, to want ourselves to be well. If there is anything getting in the way of that, being able to care for ourselves. Are there any thoughts that get in the way? We might have been trained to think that we only get rewarded when we've done something well or something like that. But the Buddha talks about unconditional love, so caring for ourselves no matter what we have or haven't done. Just being open-hearted towards ourselves. So just focusing our emotion on ourselves, wishing ourselves well. So now in the second stage, Metta Bhavana, I'm bringing to mind a friend, a good friend. Sorry for the noise. So a friend is like just a friend, that not vastly older or younger than we are, and there's no kind of romantic sexual attraction to them. They're just a friend, just another person that we like. So directing our care towards them. May they be well. So what does care towards our friend look like and feel like? And is there anything that gets in the way of that care? So getting our emotions behind the welfare of our friend. May they be well. So the third stage brings to mind a neutral person. Somebody that we see around, but we don't have any strong feelings for or against them. They're just neutral. Directing our care towards them. May they be well. You might want to direct your care towards the guy who's making all the noise. There's a gardener out the back of my house with a leaf blower. So seeing how he's trying to make something out of his life, earn some money, and that's all good. May be well. Excuse me. Is there anything that gets in the way of caring for the neutral person? So now moving on to somebody that we find difficult. So the obvious thing that would get in the way of us wanting to care for a difficult person is the thing that we find difficult about them. Well, I'm just trying to put that down for now. And just try to open our heart a bit more to this person. May they be well. So now just expanding our care out to the wider world. So including all 4 people that we've used in the meditation. Bringing those 4 people together in our minds. Let's try to care for them all equally, not preferring any one to any other. And then bringing our attention to people that we live with and who live around where we live. So opening our hearts to those people, trying to care what happens to them. Be interested in them. And just looking at what gets in the way of that. You know, maybe we think we haven't got enough time or something like that. In this meditation, we're giving ourselves time for this particular purpose. May the beings that live around us be well. And, you know, maybe being pleased for the guy out there doing the blowing, leaf blowing, and he's doing a good job. And bringing in more people into the meditation, people who live in our area, the young and the old, and females and males. Other sorts of beings and humans, animals. All beings that are trying to make something out of their lives, survive, get their needs met. So opening our heart to all those beings. May they all be well. So now just relaxing any effort that you're making with meditation. And coming back to your body, sensations in your body, to the world of colour and light, sound. In your own time, just bringing your meditation to a close. Okay, so there we are, 50 key thinkers on religion. And so the key thinker I'm focusing on today is called Lucien Levy-Bruhl, 1857 to 1939. Can you see that? No, it's out of focus. Yeah. Anyway, so he says, the book says, the myths and rituals of primitives. So primitives is, he's focusing on tribe, primitive tribes from the world and seek to master it through science. Primitives see themselves in communion with the world and seek to feel its interconnections. The anthropologist Robin Horton summarizes this sense of communion as follows. In the first place, because primitive man's every perception is so heavily invested with emotion, he does not so much perceive the world around him as feel it. Secondly, because this emotion arises within him as well as investing what he perceives, he himself is involved in a continual participation in the world. Finally, because men, animals, plants, and inert things are equally associated with mystical influences, there is a tendency to confront all categories of such objects as though they were in some sense personal, i.e., in some sense fellow subjects. Primitive man, then, is more accurately described as communing with the world about him rather than perceiving it. So he focuses on I read somewhere in this. It says that it's almost like rather than obeying a kind of law of like reason or something, what the primitive man obeys is a kind of law of like participation or something like that. So I think maybe you can use your imagination. I mean, we live in such a kind of relatively cosseted world. Many people in the West, with all sorts of gadgets and just turn the tap on. There's water, there's electricity. Kind of things are just at hand. Technology, is at hand. But if you go back to say 500 years ago or something in Britain, it'd be a much more earthy sort of existence, closer to nature. We wouldn't be, people would be colder generally in the winter, and there's be more of a struggle for survival. So I think there's a sense in which, since since the Enlightenment, and the industrial age started, that we've become kind of very sort of technological, but what goes along with that is like things like planning and science and it's kind of I suppose like we just use reason a lot for everything, and because science is based in reason and all that sort of thing. But maybe what we lose is this sense of participation. We kind of feel. So in Ian McGilchrist's book, he talks about the left-hand side of the brain making distinctions between things, So we're very aware of our separation from others and our separation from being able to kind of master everything in nature, So we're aware of the what we have control over and but also what we don't have control over. And maybe the emotion that comes that's there with all of that is one of anxiety or something. At the age of anxiety, we've not quite sorted everything out. And it's a world of other. It's a world of sort of self and other. So the primitives, the primitive tribes, trying to keep to the point here, which is emotion and the spiritual life. So there's much more sense of participation and communing, and togetherness, So in a way, it's a pretense to think that we don't need each other, that we can all just sort of subsist in these kind of bubbles, we're all in at the moment, kind of isolated from each other. And I just really kind of crave much more of a sense of community, really, in my own life, but just in the way that, we all kind of like work together, So, so it's like so in this says there's a critique of the myths and rituals of primitives seem so strange to moderns that many have come to think of them as irrational, or at least so simple and childlike as to be inferior to civilized peoples. Well, I mean, this is a kind of just a sort of weird inversion, really. That and I can sense it in some people's attitude towards Buddhists. Some people are a bit more scientifically orientated. It's like, oh, Buddhist ritual. It's like, I mean, there is a kind of childlike element in ritual, but that's that's kind of part of it, really. It's like it is a kind of play. It's a sort of way of approaching the world where we don't think that we know all about it, and it's deadly serious. This ritual, it's in a way, it's one of the most important things, not something childlike, So it's like, well, when you think about like when people have rituals, they do have a sense that something's important there, don't they? When you get married or when you have a funeral, there's a sense that something important is being marked. Event, an aspect of living is being marked. Like the need for relationship or the need to acknowledge our ancestors and our connections, our history and stuff. So to say that is irrational and is childish is like, well, what's that about? It's like saying, it's like denial. It's denial of the fact that science can't sort of solve all the problems in life, and there is a place for, well, there's a strong place for a sense of wonder and awe, towards life itself and the universe, and what's outside of, what things that are outside of our control. So when this is a book of talks by an order member called Prakasha that he gave a couple of years ago on an order convention, and he's got, so in Sri Ratna, Buddhist order members, ordained Buddhists, kind of do like a visualization. They usually take on a visualization meditation of a Buddha or a Bodhisattva, which is, so for instance, I visualize a figure called Avalokiteshvara, who represents who's this archetypal figure representing compassion, and he's got 11 heads and 1,000 arms, and so in a way, it's kind of symbolically represents looking out for beings all everywhere, and also helping them, directly, moving, just giving them what they need with awareness. And there's another figure a female figure called Tara, who's said to be born from the tears of Avalokiteshvara. Here's Tara. So Tara has got one foot in down a bit, meditation posture. Can never do that. And one foot is stepping down into the world. So it's like she's she is supposed to respond immediately to suffering. It's like active compassion. So when somebody's in trouble, she'll sort of step down and help. So you might think, well, okay, yeah, mumbo jumbo, whatever, but what Tara represents, and Avalokiteshvara as well, is an attitude that we can have. That's the point. It's like this is an archetype, is a sort of representation of a way of being that we can be. So, and it's an enlightened way of being. So we can step down into the world and help. But we can have one foot in our meditation posture, so we can stay calm while we're doing it. So I think so. In Buddhist ritual and devotion, it's like we imagine all sorts of color, and we have mantras and things, and the point is to sort of activate our imagination in the direction of enlightenment. And so in this book, there's a puja, which puja is a devotional ceremony, and there's one which is devoted to Tara. So you kind of imagine Tara, and she's like almost like made out of light, made out of green light, and has a symbol in her heart, so the seed is called a seed syllable. So that symbol represents, in a way, the essence of what Tara is, the essence of active compassion. And what's really interesting in this text, the bit I really like, is that, you know, you imagine Tara, and then you imagine that she's got these, like, this rainbow, like they've got these rainbows coming out of her crown of her head, and on the end of each rainbow is you imagine a little offering goddess, which is then offering something to 8 great bodhisattvas that represent the embodiments of wisdom and energy and meditation and generosity and love and all sorts of things, you know. So it's like saying that even enlightened figures look up to, you know, look with devotion towards other enlightened figures. So this is a kind of a description of a really healthy community, you know, that are all enlightened, but their responses to each other are almost like they see all this. They all see each other's qualities and respect each other's qualities, and in a way, kind of slightly worship each other's qualities. You know, imagine if the world was like that. You know, the world of rational, scientific people who are sort of dismissing these primitives for believing that the world's animated by spirits, you know. So the spirits are just archetypes. They just represent emotions that can be there within any of us, you know. So, you know, so it's like those primitive peoples will be looking on animals, you know, and they will be respecting them, you know, for their qualities, you know, and they'll be that, like, say, the tiger or something, you know, they'll be honouring that tiger for what it has, the qualities it has, the agility and strength and all that sort of thing, you know. So it's like respect for life and respect for, not life as an abstract thing, but respect for life actually embodied in living beings and what they're like. Appreciation of those, you know, is the way forward, I think, you know, towards happiness, you know, rather than this like feeling that we're all separate from the world. We're not, you know, we need to control it. We need to, you know, get more gas and oil out of the ground and then forget about what's inconvenient to our technology, you know, like living beings that happen to be there in the way, you know. So it's not, you know, it's about your attitude towards life in general, and also life in particular, you know, bits of life that you're around, you know, having a kind of you know, a response to those things in particular, you know. So yeah, so there is a sense of, what's the word, participation. That's it. Yeah. You know, we're participating in something, and if we feel we're participating in something, we won't feel alone. You know, yeah, we'll feel connected emotionally. So these rituals and things, you know, yeah, they're not on the lower rung of the evolutionary ladder, you know. In fact, they're on the higher rung of the evolutionary ladder. It's harder to, you know, it's more advanced in Buddhism to do devotional practices than it is to do loving kindness meditation or mindfulness meditation, because in a way that we need to have a stronger practice, and there's more to think about, and there's more to get right and everything, and in a way there's more like with ritual, you got to be careful what rituals you do, because it's powerful. It's a powerful thing. If you get married to the wrong person, then it's quite kind of undermining in a way to your faith with what happened next, what will happen in your life next. So maybe we need guidance around that. Well, we do need guidance, but So I think that'll maybe do for today. I'm not kind of seem to be in the mode of like doing grand schemes or whatever. So maybe today, if you want to, you might try and think of this sort of more what we call animist perspective. That things are informed by personality in a way, and living beings are to be respected for the qualities that they have, and try to have a sense of that, of abundance in all the life that's around you, and appreciation of not like in competition, not that you're in competition with those things, but just think, it'd be good to have that quality. If I had the quality of industry that an ant has, or sort of agility that a cat has, or whatever it is, that would be really helpful in your life. So it's about making more out of your life through these associations and stuff. So okay, thanks everyone. All right.